Hello, cousin.
Yo, Kazi, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah,
Just
man, it's good to see you on the Zoom and we're doing this. So we're gonna keep on talking. Yeah, keep on talking. I think today we're talking about mental health.
yes, we are.
So obviously, yeah, here we are. So obviously we did mental health. I did mental health in 40 Weeks Men from
Yeah.
that point of view, right at the beginning. So week four of the developments, like right early on. So we're gonna
hmm
talk about it together, you and me.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. So let's do it. So just to kick us off to get started, for yourself, what do you know about mental health?
That is very important in our lives. We all should take good care of it and like actually treat it as like a as well as we do our physical bodies. You know,
Yeah.
if we're not mentally strong, you're not gonna be able to physically do much, and that comes from talking to people and like words of affirmation to yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Um, and just more or less just because we're all going to face problems in our lives. We're
Yeah,
all going to
we
have good times. We're going to have bad times, but it's about how we handle those bad moments because we're all going to have them.
Yeah, good point. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. I think having other people that you can speak to about your issues and actually
hmm
realizing that mental health is a real thing. And actually, a lot of the time, what we do is we look at our own bodies and we're like, okay, I've got a cold or I've got like a flu or some sort of illness, and
hmm
we're trying to deal with that. But
Exactly.
a lot of the time, you forget that mental health is a really important part of being a human being, especially if you're thinking about looking after your family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. With that, yeah, exactly. With that, um, a lot of people think, even sometimes myself, that you don't really
Mm,
that you go through things alone and you do those things by
yeah.
yourself. And if you can do things by yourself, that you've got a strong mind, but it's not that easy to
Yeah.
go through things by yourself.
Mm,
Even though we kind of like want to shut off the world and we think the world is our problem, sometimes it's the solution as well.
yeah. Sometimes actually is the solution having people around in the world that help you deal and better your own mental health.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think mental health is?
Yeah, for me, I really think mental health is a really important part of being a human being. I think that, like I said earlier, I think it's very easy to look at our physical bodies,
hmm
senses, hearing, touch, taste, smell,
Yeah.
and what's that one? A sight. Look at our senses and be like, okay, this is our health. If our senses are good, then if we're interacting with the world, then we're healthy. But actually, a lot of the time, mental health is actually some of the stuff that you can't see unless somebody tells you about it, or you
Yeah.
can't sense unless somebody tells you about it. Like for me, a big part of mental health for me personally was when I had when the babies were young, even now actually, when the babies are young, I think as a dad, difficulty for me is that I didn't realize how important sleep was to
hmm
mental health. And like, I touched on it slightly in the introduction, but it's just remembering that actually having babies increases the fatigue. And
Yes.
if your mental health is already like teetering on the edge,
hmm
it can make it even more difficult. But I'm
Yeah.
hearing some of the
I understand
solutions.
that.
So yeah, go on, cuz,
No,
go on.
I understand what you're saying. In terms of
Yeah.
sleep, trying to look after my niece, I've done it a few times, but with overnight, it was the first time like, you spent overnight properly and like, I had work in the next morning. Normally I don't have work in early hours, and there was
Yeah.
one time that she woke up in the middle of the night and, just crying, and I didn't and it was a bit difficult, to get back to sleep for me, and the whole day was just a bit
Yeah.
long after that. And
Yeah,
then
that's what I'm saying.
so that is important. The fatigue is important because you have to do your day-to-day stuff and
Mm,
look after a child is it's sometimes an unthinkable task, and people actually don't understand
mm.
how hard it is actually to
Yeah,
function
good
normally.
point. Good point, cuz. Yeah, good point. I mean, like, to be honest, I want to try and think of some solutions, but before we think about solutions, I think it's really important from you and I just to be
Hmm.
like, listen, this is a real thing. Actually, mental health and making sure that mental health is proper is a real thing. And we need to, you and me need to give voice to that and make sure people realize that actually this is a real thing.
No, yeah, it is. Of course it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
No,
Has it always been a real thing for you, or is it something you ignore?
I've always been conscious.
Have you?
Yeah, I've always been conscious of
Yeah.
people, my mind. It's probably
Mm.
I've got there's always an ongoing internal battle in my mind, to be honest, in a way,
Really?
with mental health in terms of how I'm feeling, or I've always cared about how other people have felt. So I
Yeah,
know how it is to not feel good, and I know how it feels to feel good. So
yeah.
I know it's been there from day one. I'm very aware of how if you're not good in your brain, you're not really good at carrying out any tasks throughout the
Mm.
day, and
It
not good
really
at
affects you. Yeah, yeah.
pushing yourself through limits and like going through trials and tribulations. If you're not mentally active, or you don't have the right frame of mind,
Mhm.
so to speak, you're not going to be able to carry out tasks, like even going out during the day. You're not going to be able to face people. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Yeah,
for me, it's always I've played football as well, so the mental side of things, is important to me. To carry out tasks, if you're not feeling great in your mind, your body is not going to perform on the pitch on that day. You're not going to be free and loose to
very
attack what you
true.
need to attack. So that is all. My mind has always been from a sporting perspective, and I've carried that through everything in my life. So I always know it's real. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I just, I feel like I only get more aware of mental health when I've got a problem.
Okay.
And for me, the main thing about mental health is my mood.
Yeah.
So I always think about like feeling low. I
Mm-hmm.
never really like hear voices or anything or like see hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do, cuz some people do, but
Mm-hmm.
I've never really had that problem. And
Really?
like, yeah, have you?
Um, I talk to myself quite a lot, mate. So, um,
I think that's
you know,
different though.
being by like sometimes, I like being like in solace,
Yeah,
and I don't by obviously I'm very active with people, but I do you know, say things to myself negatively and positively. So I do have these thoughts in my mind sometimes about like, how I'm doing. It's not just the good times. It's also the bad times, as well. Obviously, the good times, you know when you're feeling. I'm very extreme person, in terms
yeah,
of my mental health. Like I know I get very high in terms of in my emotions. I'm very
yeah.
happy, like ecstatic, and just like, over the top good. I don't, but having the balance, I've never really had. Sometimes have the balance of just being still, or sometimes I can be very low. Like if I've had
Mm,
an injury or a loss of life, or like a loss of girlfriend or friend, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It can affect me very harshly and in a bad way. But like I said, the highs and
Mm.
lows for me, I don't really have a medium.
Yeah, I hear you, cuz. All right, let's try and think of some solutions. Because we're
Yeah.
surviving now. Obviously, we're
Hmm.
surviving. But like there must be a way to like keep surviving or make it better if you're struggling. What do
Yeah.
you think the way is?
Uh, it's easier said than done. Obviously,
Yeah.
opening up to someone that's close to you. That's one way.
Yeah, opening up to somebody that's close to you, is that what you said?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's one way. Um, Words of positive affirmation, like that you are doing well, being thankful, to God,
Yeah.
to the God universe, to the people around you, what you have, be grateful to what you have. I've noticed from my own relationship with people, the people that
Yeah.
are close to us, we take for granted the most, really, because they're
Yeah.
always there. They're always putting
They're
in like
there in it.
they're
Yeah.
always putting in like 8, 9 out of 10 for you, but you don't, because you don't see it as extra. You see it as normal. You're not really giving thanks to the people that are around you, and that's me sometimes, and that could be anyone around me. Also, that's not doing it,
Yeah.
but. we need to do more of that, saying thank you and and acknowledging the things that we
Acknowledging the
do
good
daily.
stuff.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you're right. Yeah,
And I think
acknowledging
one
the good
thing
stuff.
I do, the one thing I do, I'm sure what other people do, go for walks with music or without
A good
music,
idea.
with
Go
or
for
without music,
walks
just to
with or
clear,
without music.
yeah, clear in your head really. Going outside when it's nice, even if it's raining, sometimes it's just rain. Just go outside and just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go for a walk with music, without music, and just with the positive affirmations, go out and say thank you for the sky, for the leaves, for the birds, for your life, to breathe, to walk.
It's a good idea, man. It's a good idea. See, we need to talk about these things more because these are some real good. Actually, let me throw a spanner in the works here.
Mm.
Obviously, you can do that, but the issue with me is that if I try and do that when the baby's crying
Yeah, it's
and the
peak.
other baby is like wanting something, it's like there's no time to sometimes look up to myself and do the walk. Even
Yeah.
though I want to. Yeah,
So what would you do then in that
it
respect
is.
then?
Yeah. I personally just try and just carry on. And that's not the best thing. I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, I think it's hard sometimes when you don't have as much uh
Fine.
kind of like time to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes your mental health can suffer.
So how
Um
do you so how would you so it's a catch-22 really, because you don't have
yeah,
time and your mental health suffers, but you need your mental health to be good to look after the kids that you have. So
so
have
true.
so you need to be able to find some sort of time to make your mental health better, because otherwise if you don't, your kids are going to suffer for that as well.
That is so true. So I'll tell you what helps me. What helps me in all of that difficulty with time and everything, what really helps me is talking to people like you.
Oh
Having
yeah.
family, yeah, it helps me. Having family or friends that I can be like, listen, I'm struggling here. But
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. I think one of the hard things is like, one of the hard things for me is like not being too prideful to be able to speak to somebody about my own mental health and like being able to open up
Yes.
because like that makes you look weak.
Yeah, well, vulnerable is like no one really
Vulnerability.
wants to talk about their problems because everyone's got an issue, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I found hard. But you're right though. It's important because if you don't do it, then you'll suffer and your family will suffer.
And then I
Yeah.
just sometimes, but then sometimes I do think, even when you do talk about things, it's good, but then
Yeah.
maybe the other person is not maybe ready to receive what you want to say. So it's
Yeah.
difficult if you're feeling bad. Do you want to open up to someone if they're not feeling great either, and then you're giving them something to
Yeah.
think about that's not positive? So it's a difficult one in that respect because you just don't know how people are feeling, but you will never know if you don't say it. So
So true. It's just you need to just try it and find out. I think you need to have a pool of people that you can go to.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
just one, but like a
No, that's the
few different
thing.
ones.
But as we get older, though, the people that we think who we could trust, I feel like it goes down.
Do you think so?
I think so. As we get older, well, for me personally,
Yeah, tell
I know
me.
I had a squad of 22 probably. If you think about going, like, if I'm just talking in football terms, you take 23
Yeah,
players, to a World Cup,
yeah,
and during that tournament, you get players to get injured, suspended.
mm,
The number of players you can rely on go down, right? From
yeah,
23, it goes down to 15 maybe, because you get 3 or 4 injuries and 3 or 4%
yeah,
suspension, you know? So
yeah,
that goes down. I feel like when you go further in life, sometimes obviously if you might be lucky if you get out enough, but if you have kids, sometimes it's difficult to meet new people, to make new
yeah,
friends,
true.
and the friends that you have their own lives. So that dwindles down a bit. Sometimes just out of natural occurrences that happen in
Yeah,
life, and you have to deal
true.
with that side of things as well, where you think you still can go to people, but sometimes you just don't know whether they're going to be the same response you're gonna get the
Same
same energy back.
response. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's why I think it might, yeah, you might be thinking different than you think everyone's going to be there all the time. But I don't
Mm.
know, my life now, how I feel, I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, I hear you, cuz I think you've hit the nail on the head though. It's like realizing that you need a squad
Hmm.
and there are things that you can do to maintain your squad.
There you go.
And
Yeah,
actually,
maintain
it's realizing actually, yeah, as you get older and you get more years under the belt, your squad may decrease. And I feel like that's not just you saying that. I can see that in my own life as well.
Oh,
And
really?
I feel like the majority of my friends say that as well. I don't know of any like research or stuff, but anecdotally, the
Yeah.
majority of people tell me that my trust circle decreases as I get older.
How do you
But
feel
there
about
are
that?
yeah, innit? But
How
there
do
are
you feel about
things
that?
gone, gone.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that?
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel. How does it make me feel? I mean, like I don't really have any like positive or negative feelings towards it. I feel like it's
Mhm.
just a fact of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
It's like me. Like as you get older, your
Mm.
squad will decrease. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just normal. I think because people lives, you know how people say lives people.
Yes, of
People are
course.
living life and they just like
Living, quite living.
decide
Yeah.
to do things a certain way.
Yeah.
Life is life in. So like I think though, like what I'm realizing now is like affirming those that are close to you, those that
Yeah.
you can easily take for granted is
Hmm.
really good for your own mental health and good for your family. And it's realizing actually we need to be aware that it's easy to take those that are close to us for granted.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
yeah, I feel like that's the solution for our mental health to improve. Improve.
I agree. No, I even agree. I agree with you. Even well,
Do.
and hopefully, the day I get have kids, that I won't, that the things that I do for them, that they don't take it for granted. And even though, and then anything I do for them, I won't hold it against them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
I
because
hear you,
I've looked
cuz.
after them, I didn't ask them to come here. I brought them here,
I
right?
hear
You
you,
brought
cuz.
them here, so you use your responsibility to now look after the people that you brought here. So it's not up to you to lord over the person that you brought here. That I've done all this for you, and on the flip side, when the person that they brought you here, you should give them the same respect. That
Yeah,
they've helped you grow up and mature. And
I'm sure.
at the
Yeah.
same time, you have to like trust them to be the mature person that you grown up to be, and they should allow you to be that person too.
Yeah, true. So let me do it now, right now. So you're part of my squad, cuz, and I
Love you, man.
appreciate you, and I appreciate that I can talk to you sometimes about my mental health and like, yeah, like I can't always bring everything to you, and I
No,
need to be aware that yeah, like pushing everything onto you is not fair, but at the same time, like a burden shared is a burden halved.
likewise,
We can help
likewise
each
for me
other.
to you.
Yeah,
Likewise for
thanks.
me to you.
But hopefully people will watch this video of us and be encouraged to like reach out to their friends and family and
I hope
make
so.
good, yeah, me too, man. Make good links because like obviously we can't force no one to do nothing. But we can
No,
encourage people and be like, listen, me and my cousin, we try and spend time together. Hopefully you'll watch our video and like be encouraged to do the same. And hopefully people's mental health will improve and actually people will be able to deal better with the fatigue of having kids and how that can put a strain on your mental health.
that well,
Yeah.
even kid. I think even we're kids. We are kids, so we still even put strain on our parents. And it's so you have to think about what we're doing as well. What if that
Mm,
affects the parents that we all have. So it's like, yeah, very interesting. Hopefully people take something on board today. Even
yeah, me
if
too.
even if anything.
Yeah, me too. Well, sounds good to me, cuz. I guess
Yes, does
we'll
man.
let people think and we'll do another one soon.
Come on, man. I love you, man.
Love you too, man.